let me tell you a little bit about me. I started out as a journalist mostly with NPR, and then I went to NBC mostly. I started CBS, NBC, who cares, and was there for many, many years. And I did stories all over the place. Two of the stories that I did, one was in Korea, one was in Vietnam, and I did a lot of stories on orphanages, hard-to-place kids. I got very involved in a couple of those stories. And I, in fact, adopted, as a single person, 2 children. One from Korea, who was 7, another one, half Vietnamese, half American, from Vietnam, who was 6. Then, for those of you who care, I married somebody with kids. So when we got married, we had 6 girls. And then we had 2 boys. And then we we started to take in refugee families. And because it was a time that we'd taken families from Vietnam, we took in a refugee family, we took in several, but the final refugee family we took in lived with us for 25 years. It was a surprise. The littlest boy was 4 years old. He is now an anesthesiologist and has 3 kids. All told, we have 11. I think one of them, my baby, is here. Could you raise your hand, please? There. Ask him any, no, don't. But Ceci, who is here, makes me say, I was the first single parent to adopt a foreign child in the United States, and she is now an old person. She has 3 kids, one of whom has just graduated from college. But I tell this because I think it's important to stress that there is no, whatever one calls it, there's no normal family. What is the family like today? The combined family, the single-parent family, the family that will accept kids, whether you're straight, gay, who cares? But we've become involved in all of this. Women's Campaign International is all about that. In 1991, I was asked to run for Congress. I tell you this because for those of you who are young, the one thing that I said to my kids all the time is you gotta be prepared to lose before you can win. You gotta get on the playing field. And when I was asked by a very unusual group of women to run for Congress, it was 92, it became the Year of the Woman. When I was asked, I said, oh my God, this is what the district looked like. It was 2.48 to 1. In other words, I'm a Democrat. For those of you in the room who are Americans, you may have guessed. But it was heavily Republican. We had never had a Democrat. We had never had a woman, as was mentioned in her own right, win from the state. So the chances that I would win were really remote. On election night, I only went in with a concession speech. And I won. Not overwhelmingly. I mean, with 50.2% of the vote, but like 1,063. Of course, I would remember that. And I went to Congress and served. It was the Year of the Woman, 1992. For those of you who know politics in the United States, it was Clinton came in, and then there was this overwhelming. It was the Year of Newt in 1995, and so many of us went, kind of bye-bye. In 1995, I became the head of our delegation for the Beijing conference. It was, as some of you may know, the largest conference ever under the auspices of the UN. It was in China. Women from all over the world came. I was the head of our US delegation, and it was an incredible honor. When we came back, it was our call to action was to get more women to the table. What does that mean? Get more women to the table. We are talking about, we've been serving the tables, we've been on the menu, we want to get to the table. So Women's Campaign International was formed. And it started actually with a grant from the Annenberg Foundation at the University of Pennsylvania, which is where I've been teaching. And what our goal is to work with women of all sorts. Many of the women we work with are illiterate but brilliant. I'll give you some examples. we went to Malawi. We doubled the number of women in parliament. And then we come back, we visit, what are the issues that are important? What are the things that you have to look for? What are the pieces of legislation? One of the women whom we got elected, Callista Chimumbu Wamutarika, went on the cabinet of the president and then married him. So we then had a first lady, which is what we are kind of unprepared but prepared to do. So we then had a first lady. Then we started a First Ladies Initiative in Africa. What we did in Malawi is the typical. Went to Liberia. We went in with the Department of Defense, and because women handle peace and negotiations very differently than men do, and they liked us, so we stayed. We stayed for a lot of years. We went to every single solitary area, every area. We trained with training of trainers. We trained 100,000 women. And also one of the things that, I'm saying, shock, when Ebola hit, we were there. Our women were there. What are the things, and we teach communication. How do you get your point across? What are the things that we could share with those women? First of all, stop the ritual cleansing. Second of all, stop, I don't know if you've ever been to this area, they shake hands with a click. Stop the click, because you sometimes exchange secretions. And also accept the people who have had Ebola, because when those people came back to the villages, they were rejected. They are immune. Use them in the hospitals for cooking, things like that. That was the message that our women got out, and we are really credited with stopping the flow of the disease. That's what Women's Campaign International does. Yesterday, I was actually moved by the power of what Salpi said when she related what the amazing recipients of the Aurora Award said when they were asked, what's the most important ingredient in making what you do work? It was love, faith, and the law. They were the answers. Reuben elaborated and challenged us when he said, we have to fight indifference, respect the past, but live in the future, and feel the power of helping others. WCI tries to send this message, and that we can affect change heart by heart, so we can all awaken humanity. I think we can move mountains.